Welcome to Notebook, a program of interest to the St. Lucie County community that features information about St. Lucie County schools. Guests include school district and community leaders with focus on children in our community.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Notebook. This is a show where we connect you with community officials, school district personnel, and other organizations from around the Treasure Coast. And today we have a very special guest with us. Many of you may recognize her, many of you may recognize her name. And she's just such a huge part of our community, and what she has provided to the people in need here around the Treasure Coast is just incredible. And I'm very excited to introduce to you our director of the Mustard Seed Ministries, Miss Stacy Malinowski, and thank you so much for being back with us.
You're very welcome.
It's always great to have you here, and we're anxious to hear about all the different programs that you provide, but talking about some of the connections and the special events that you do, we're going to kind of try to cram that all into 30 minutes. I'm not sure how we're going to do that, but tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you come to this position? We shared just a little bit about you and your son at the beginning, but tell us a little bit about how you got to this.
Well, you know, as the program director for Mustard Seed, it really is a big job as far as how many facets that make up that job. But before I actually came to this organization, I worked 15 years working in child abuse and neglect, teen pregnancy, true and ungovernable children. I worked at a lot of different facets of human services and social services. And then I had an opportunity to make a change, and a wonderful pastor administrator of our at our organization at that time was Reverend Sharon Bridger. And we spoke, and I said, sure, I'll come over and help you a little bit. I said, this has got to be so much easier than working in child abuse every day and different things like that. My passion really was teen pregnancy, and I truly loved doing that. But I will tell you, I got to Mustard Seed, and I'm going, oh, this is going to be so much easier. It's really not, because it was the whole entire community, and anybody and everyone within the community that had a crisis. It's our job to be able to stabilize that family, have resources for that crisis, and find a way to sustain them and create the plan to go forward. That's really what the whole mission is behind Mustard Seed, which is to help the whole person, whether it be financially, physically, spiritually, every aspect, which makes us so much really unique and sets us apart from most organizations.
Right, and what's amazing is the background that you brought to that position, I'm sure has helped you just kind of roll into all the different aspects of the family needs.
Well, that's exactly right, because I had spent quite a long time at being able to meet the needs of the families I worked with prior. So I've been in this community a long time. My husband and I moved here in 1985, and I immediately started working in that field. So I was very fortunate and learned a lot from that. But this community is made up of so many amazing people. But when you are down at that level and you are working with these families one-on-one, you really have a great understanding with what our families go through. And it is not just poverty. There's people that are in various different levels of class that in return have crisis at one time or another, whether it is been accidental or whatever may have happened. We need to be there for all of them.
Right. And I noticed on the brochure when I was doing some of my background work a little bit, that Mustard Seed has been around for 30 years. It started in 1986.
We did.
Tell us how that actually came to be.
Sure. If you think about it, you're downtown Fort Pierce, and at that time, let's go back 30 years ago. So if you're right there about that time, and you're going to understand that you had 4 big churches all right down in our area, which was St. Andrew's Episcopal Church, First United Methodist on corner of 7th, and you had First Baptist, and First Presbyterian. We're all within about 3 blocks of each other. And what individuals would do would go from one church to another, to another, to another. Right. And then the ministers would get together for a ministerial association meeting, and they'd say, oh, well, let's talk about this family that's in need of help. Well, they come to find out the families had gone to multiple churches. And they're going, I think we really need to work on creating a clearinghouse. In this clearinghouse, that everyone could go to one place instead of trying to do a little bit from this, this, and this. And so in the back room of a church that loaned us some area, that allowed us to do a few utility bills and give groceries out and try to work our way. Fast forward from that to where we are now. We're at $1.3 million budget with over 17 different types of services and servicing over 63,000 people a year.
Wow. That's amazing.
That's because who's in charge of our organization.
There you go.
That's who.
That's exactly right.
When God has his hand in it, it's amazing
There
how
you
it will go.
There you go. There you go. Well, I know you just had one of the biggest events, and it's been a privilege to have been a part of it in different aspects here and there across the years. But the Community Thanksgiving Feast is a huge event. Hundreds of people come together to support this event. Tell us a little bit about that and how it got started, and then we'll also talk a little bit about how the school district has kind of
Absolutely.
embraced this as well. Very excited about that. So
Very much so. If you think about our Thanksgiving, this is our 27th year, and at that time it was Reverend Carl Junker, and he was the pastor administrator. And if anyone that knew Carl, he had a heart as a gold, and just it was amazing. I knew him working for another organization, so whenever I had families in crisis, I knew to go there as well. So in knowing Carl and knowing that this feast was started by him was very fitting. Carl started this feast on the corner of Avenue D and Engle Road. Put a little tent up and fed about 100 people and going, the reason we do this feast is because we know there's people that could use the food. I know there's a lot of people out there that are alone. And he said, but more importantly, in return, it gives us an opportunity for those who are so grateful for what we have to share and give back of our time, our money, and our talents in helping with this feast. And to this day, 27 years later, starting with about 100 people, to where we served right around, if we add in our north and south campuses of what we've done, there'd be about 8,000 meals total.
Oh my goodness.
So, and I will tell you, there's a lot of organizations out doing Thanksgiving this year, which is a wonderful thing that a lot of people really find the need and give it back in various different ways. So, but that feast is amazing, and it is not just a Mustard Seed event. It may have started there.
Right.
This has turned in truly into the most hugest community event that you could imagine of how many volunteers it takes. We start back usually right around August talking about, you know, where we at. Is the city on board? Because the property we use belongs to the city.
Right.
We work with the, St. Mark's Missionary Baptist, can we use your site as our prep site? We go to First Methodist, can we do our mashed potatoes? Common Ground, you're going to do delivery? Everybody takes their piece. Southern Eagle brings us a refrigerated truck, and it just keeps going on. And I will tell you, it is definitely organized chaos.
I was just going to say
It's
that
just
is
organized chaos,
wow.
but there's a lot of people. And this year we were well over 1,000 volunteers that were on site that day to make sure those meals were served. We serve about 1,500 to 2,000 under the tent, and the rest are home delivered meals.
I was just going to ask you, because I remember the one year that we were there helping put stuff together, and I watched them just take meals a few at a time and deliver those, and the organization behind putting that all together, wow, that's incredible. And I know, I remember Publix was part of, bringing, the donations of their desserts and, lots of pastries and things like that.
If you just think about what it takes to get up in the morning on Thanksgiving Day, when most people are really looking forward to a parade and all the cooking going on in the house and watching football. You know what? 100 Sam Club employees from both Sams show up at 7 o'clock in the morning and cut all the desserts that Publix donated and get them all ready for the to-go. They stay about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then they're done for the day. And they may not think that's a lot, but that's a huge aspect of what we do there. You know, there's a lot of people that give, not just our churches and individuals and private donors. It really comes together. And at the end of the day, when you're serving that plate to that person that's under the tent and you're telling him, Happy Thanksgiving, enjoy your meal, you know what? I think we always get more out of it than I think that they do sitting there having their meal.
Yeah, so true.
It is.
True. And just that couple hours of time that you give, it's just such a simple gesture, but it makes such a difference. And yeah.
You can bring your children. You can. It's for everybody. If you want to deliver a meal, it really is a way for the community to come together and say, "This is what I'm thankful for."
And I know a couple of families that I know were helping out on that day brought their kids to be a part of it, and what an experience for the kids to see about what giving does for you as a family, for you personally, and not only that, but just to see the difference that you're making in somebody else. And that's a great thing for our younger kids to see.
You know, and a big thank you, because the city this year recognized and did a proclamation for Thanksgiving this year, which was really wonderful and how fitting for us. But so just to think of the city officials, every aspect of that feast has every part of our community tied to it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Great job on your part,
Oh.
all your organization
Oh,
and putting
there's
it
a
all
lot of us
together.
that do this.
No, I know. Well, we were talking just at the, before the show started about how our high schools are actually a part of this. And talk to us. We have 3 high schools right now that are assisting with this. Tell us how that came about and kind of what their role is for putting their little piece together for the feast.
Well, actually, it was a family member of mine that was in a culinary program, and I was sharing with a young man that was involved in Chef Lewis's culinary class, and I kept saying, geez, we have these turkeys we have to get cooked. Well, let me ask my chef. And I'm going, what do you mean? He goes, well, in the culinary. I said, ooh, what a wonderful idea.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the school kids learning how to do this and whatever? So I went over and I met with Chef Lewis, and he said, we'll do it.
Wow.
And I mean, there was no questions asked. And fast forward a couple years, he said, we've now taken this program and put it in all of our curriculum through the culinary programs. So now Thanksgiving is a big piece. Not only do we normally serve in our school to ours, but now we're doing these turkeys for you. They're teaching them how to give back. And it was amazing. And this year was just over the top. They cooked over 450 turkeys, the school system did.
How about that?
I have to say huge kudo to Chef Lewis and Strell, and I will tell you, because when I walked in there and I saw those students and the pictures of what they were sharing and how they were learning, and I mean, it was just amazing. And these kids were excited, and I get to tell them a little bit about where their food's going and what they're doing, and then they ask could they come out and help on the day.
Oh,
So when I tell you the school system is doing a lot more than just educating our children in academics, but we really are showing them there's more and giving of themselves.
Yeah, and we talked too a little bit about building that whole student. It's not just, within the classroom in that little silo, but just building, the character and, that giving part just adds that touch of a difference that you're making in the students. Chef Lewis is amazing.
And that just goes back to our mission. It's about the whole person.
Right.
So that really fits well, and it's a good partnership. And these chefs are very dedicated, and I'm very, very proud. And this year, I think I had Maureen as well with Treasure Coast High with us as well.
Yeah. Well, I know that the Thanksgiving feast throughout the community is one of those events that, pretty much anybody that's been here, in the Treasure Coast for any length of time is very aware. When we hear Mustard Seed, oftentimes we just think of the food pantry.
Right.
But there are so many other programs that you have. The list just kept going and going, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, they've added more just since the last time I saw you. And looking at your brochure and just seeing all the different aspects that you are touching and changing lives here around our community. Let's talk about some of the components within the organization. I don't know where you want to start,
Sure.
which would be the best place
Well,
to...
when you think about what it takes when you're in a crisis, whatever it may be, and I will give you an example. I have a young mother that has come into us, and she has a child that's in the school system who has a brain tumor. And this young lady is on Medicaid. The mom works, and she's got her other 2 kids, so she has to drive to Orlando every week to take the child for treatment. Well, she's still paying her bills and she's doing whatever, but it's costing her an extra $100 a week in gas to get up there and back with the amount of treatments that she has to go for. So at the end of 2 months, she's already now behind in her rent, she's behind in her utilities. She's going to take her child and get care. So she came to us and said, what else can I do? Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to put the gas in your car. First thing we have to do is get your rent caught up so you're not evicted. Okay, are you still working? Yes, I am. Is your boss workable? We work out all the details of that aspect. So we're able to cover her gas until this baby doesn't need treatment anymore. So at least that will stabilize mom to continue to pay her bills. She's a little overwhelmed, and I understand that. So we've got some support services coming in for her, as well as important for us to be able to take a look at. We have a program called Getting Ahead and a Getting By World. And I will tell you, this is a group of organizations within our community, and there's others that teach these classes as well. And whether it's out of Graceway or Nancy Brown and Paragon Academy, we're all involved in this program, and we believe in it. And it's a slow process, but it gives these families an opportunity to see where they are in this world and how they can achieve the goals that they want. So whether it's going back to school or increasing their education or finding that better job or getting the skills that they need and training, all of that is part of that class. So we just now, in that little conversation, covered, and we also helped this individual to make sure she qualified for food stamps. She didn't think she did because she was working.
Right.
So she was able, not a lot, but she did get support from her food stamps. We were able to pay her rent, and now we can sustain her with the gas. And then she's going to actually hopefully be enrolled in our program. She's going to be able to go back and do the things that she needs to get to a new level. the impact that will have on her family, that she has increased herself, whether she goes to college or whatever part of it, she has a better chance of her children following her path by her behaviors. So rent was covered, everything that we just spent, those are 3 of the services that we offered in one family that we were to help.
Wow.
We have a food pantry that is open Monday through Thursday, and when I tell you, the individuals come in to receive their food, they get about 20, 25 pounds of groceries. They come once a month because it's an emergency pantry.
Right.
And at the end of the day, in that classroom, we partner with the University of Florida. They're doing education on nutrition. They're giving them very simple things. Remember, a lot of our families are in great poverty. Something so simple to understand what it costs for a can of living natural green beans that have no salt in it versus a local grocery store brand that does have salt. There's great difference, almost $1.25 a can. So you know what? We take the $1.25 can and we tell them to use a strainer. You rinse that off. We take a majority of the salt out. And now you have something that's going to help you because you already have high blood pressure. And we want to make sure, so that's part of our education and teaching them very simple things and the knowledge. Diapers.
I was just going to say, I just saw the diapers on there.
We are a food bank member, and in return that, we are able to receive diapers from our food bank. And right now we have close to 92 individuals that bring their families that in there that need diapers. They can come every week for 25 diapers. And what does that do? That can save that parent anywhere between $60 to $100 at the end of the month.
Absolutely.
Right now with that assistance, so they make sure that they are able to pay their rent and utility. Everything leads to helping them create a sustainable plan.
That's amazing. And just diapers alone, as you're talking about that, I can remember when my kids were little, that was $100 a week, easily. So just something as simple as that. There are so many ways that I know we can get our community involved. You talk about the volunteers for special events, but
Sure.
I'm sure you're in need of volunteers throughout the year.
Every aspect of our organization has volunteers in it. And we do a report each month. We run an average of 1,700 to 2,000 volunteer hours between our 2 locations of the volunteers that come in to help us run our organization. And whether it be in the thrift store or whether it be in our social service office, our food pantry, our warehouse, we have a huge community garden in our backyard and need people to help because we take those groceries and bring them in through our food pantry.
How about that? That's awesome.
We have herbs growing everywhere to teach them how to flavor their food instead of using that salt and pepper.
Right.
And again, with the help of the nutritionists coming in from University of Florida, these are the things that make a huge difference. It's helping the whole person.
Right.
So if you'd like to do garden work, if you don't mind coming in the thrift store and hanging clothes or helping us in our food pantry to get our bags ready, you can call our office at 465-6021. We'd love to set up a time to come over and show you what you do and find out what your niche would be within our organization.
So I was just going to ask you, if somebody was interested in volunteering, how they would go about that.
Yeah.
And such a great opportunity, too, for high school students, because a lot of our scholarships are built around community service hours. And what an opportunity for our high schools. Do you have several high school students that are doing
whether
that?
you're in high school, whether you have a church youth group, whether you have a group of ladies that come from your organization, I had Bank America last week with 20 people that came in. And someone did a huge food drive for us, and they were sorting the food and doing it. There is something every single day to do at Mustard Seed, every day.
How about that? And then during the holiday season, I know that's always kind of the peak time that you sense, some of the needs a little more often than others, or?
Yeah, you do. And you do find that but again, with us partnering with so many other organizations, we don't necessarily do a toy drive because we're just coming off our Thanksgiving. But I will tell you this, that we know where those resources are. So when they do come in to see us, we're able to make sure we're giving them the right information. We're a 2-on-1 partner, so everything that's out there, it is important to know what your resources are, where to go, when to go. If you want a meal, I give them bags of groceries, but what happens when that bag of groceries is gone for that month? Well, you know what? I can refer them to Sarah's Kitchen or Matthew's Cafe where there's a hot meal at night to serve. That's what's crucial. And we always need volunteers in every aspect. I have a bad back, I can't lift. But that's okay because I've got great sit-down jobs.
There you go.
We've had our youngest group being in a group used to be called the Mom and Tots. And the moms would come in with their 2- and 3-year-olds. And they would have little things for them to do there. And what a wonderful way to start to show your children what it means to be able to give of yourself and give back to your community. We live in this community. We live next door to neighbors that need help,
Right.
and we don't really get out to do that. I work a lot. I'm very grateful that I happen to have neighbors across the street. They're all named Barbara, 2 on the side,
Oh,
1 on the
that's
front.
funny.
So I don't have to remember too much. But you know, these ladies are really wonderful people. But more importantly, they're my neighbors. So you want to be. You never know who's next door and needs help. And if you're not sure, you call Mustard Seed. We'll see what we can do to help you.
There you go. And if someone was interested in making a monetary donation, how would they go about doing that?
Absolutely. Mustard Seed Ministries is an organization that relies heavily on our community. We do write grants. We do receive funding from United Way, and we're very grateful for the money that we do receive and what we work with. But we cannot live without the donations of the community that come in that help us meet the needs that necessarily are not always filled. So to be able to contact us, please call 465-6021. And also, you can also send a monetary donation. And I think they were going to put up our P.O. Box, which is 3612, Fort Pierce, Florida, 34948.
Okay. And do you have events throughout the year that are actually fundraiser type of events that people could participate in as well?
We do. We just finished coming off our biggest event of the year, which is called our Silver Bells Holiday Home Tour. And we get 2 motor coaches, and we put 100 people, 50 on each bus. And we have 2 gracious hosts that open their home to 100 people to come in to their home. This year, I was very grateful that Dr. Strawn and Jennifer was able to open their doors, and Gail Fleshy, and they were on Indian River Drive. And let me tell you, it was a magnificent event. It was just unbelievably successful, sold out very early, and we raised over $25,000. So we're very excited when we were able to do an event like that. And we also do a ladies' tea in April. We do our One Day to Give food drive. There's so many events, and if you'd like doing special events, contact me. We have a ladies' auxiliary that are constantly in need of new members to join us. You can do as little or as much as you'd like, whether it's volunteering in the pantry or helping out with one of our events.
Now, how would a community member go about finding out about these different events? Would they go to your website? Where would be the best place?
Absolutely. We have a great new website. We're very excited about that, and it's www.mustardseedslc.org. And you can look at our events. You can see what's out there. We have a Facebook. Like us on Facebook. If you just Google Mustard Seed Fort Pierce, it'll take you right to our Facebook. Lots of activities going on, fun pictures to look at.
Yeah. And hopefully, I know you sent us a few of the pictures, so we may be able to get those maybe up and posted as maybe part of the show if it's possible.
Oh,
but
wonderful.
We just thank you so much for all you do, for taking the time to be with us too, to share. It's just amazing what you have accomplished and just continue to accomplish, and especially how you bring the community together. It's just it's wonderful to see. And when as you're talking and you're hearing about this company and that company and this organization and just how everyone is just coming together to meet the needs of people here in our neighborhoods, it's
and if
incredible.
we don't know that need, we'll find that.
Yeah.
We'll find it for you.
And last question, if let's say I had a neighbor that I knew was in need and maybe they weren't comfortable, going and, contacting Mustard Seed directly, would there be a way for me to maybe make that phone call to say, hey, I know there's a family that's in need? How would I go about that if I was...
You can, and one of our staff would be more than glad to talk with you with what it entails. It depends on what that need is, what we could do.
Right.
We have housebound people that are homebound that are not able to physically get in.
Right.
And in return, they can also identify my neighbor, Mary Smith, and I'm going to sign that paper that she can pick my groceries up once a month. That would be fine. So there's a way to work around everything that we have. We can break this apart and we will work with you, make a plan, because if we can help with that grocery, that lady might now be able to buy her, whether it's a pet food or whether it's pay for her medicine, that's on very tight budgets. The hardest 2 populations for us to work with is our seniors on fixed income and individuals that are disabled. The opportunity to make more money is not. So it's really important we create the best plan we can for them.
Right. And is it on the needs side of it, for someone to qualify for assistance? Is there something that they would have to fill out? How does that work as well?
It depends. There is a small form that you come in and you sign for your food. That's minimal amount.
Right.
If there's cash assistance, there might be more, but you would call us and we would pre-screen and to make sure that you understood that you qualified then, instead of bringing you all the way down there and then they say, oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
And we don't want to do that. Mondays we get hundreds of phone calls that come in, and it is important that we make sure that we treat everyone with respect and the fairest possible process that we can do to do that. If you are not able to make a monetary donation, you're not able to do much, come in, donate your clothing to the thrift store. If you have furniture you want to donate, give us a call, because that turns into money for us. Our 2 thrift fairs are like 2 big fundraisers. The monies that we raise fund our social service side.
That's awesome. And just amazing, all the things that are tied together, and just to watch
It's a great
it grow.
team. We have a wonderful board of directors and some great staff, and as a team, and then what our relationship is within the community really, I think, makes it so strong.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and
Thank
we
you for
appreciate
having
your
me.
leadership and
you're
helping
welcome.
make this happen, and your role is a very big role. You know, we know we couldn't do it without your vision and, you know, all the things that
Well,
you
thank
see
you.
coming and the needs that you see.
And I
getting
think that's
met.
kind of how we grew with our positions. We saw the community kept telling us, where am I going to get this? Where am I going to get that? How do I get this? How do I get bus passes? How do I get around town? And you know, then we found out that these were things that were great needs within our community. So we sought out to find out where those resources are. And this way they're able to come to one location and meet those needs. If you have to go to the doctor out of town, I'm able to put gas in your car and to get you out of
get you there.
town. Because that's going to help you go to the doctor, help you get better, get you back work, and get you back making plans for yourself.
There you go. So before we go, would
Sure.
you just give the phone number one more time
Sure.
and the website? So we've
Absolutely. And that would be Mustard Seed Ministries, 465-6021. That is our main number. And our website is www.mustardseedslc.org.
Great. Well, thank you so much
Thank you.
again for being with us.
I
We always
appreciate
love
it.
having you here and
Thanks.
hearing all the great things that are happening within the community, and we appreciate your time and,
Oh.
and all that you do.
Wonderful.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today and learning a little bit more about this organization and the many lives that they touch on a daily basis. And we just thank them again. Thank you for all those who volunteer for Mustard Seed, and we want to reach out to our community if it's something that you feel is just kind of tugging at your heart to be one of those volunteers that can make a difference in the life of not just a student, but anyone here along the Treasure Coast. Contact Mustard Seed and we'll find a place that you can be to help us out and make a difference. So thanks for being with us. Have a wonderful holiday, and we'll see you next time.